What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now, with the USA only having 2 games left before the World Cup starts, both coming later this month, and guys like Des, Reyna, and Richards all returning from injury who are not available with us in the last camp, and the USA having the most informed strikers I can remember in a long time, this leaves Gregg Berhalter with a lot of good problems on who he's going to call into camp. Not only is he going to have to decide who all to bring into camp, but he's also going to have to figure out how to field a starting 11 against Japan and Saudi Arabia with a lot of guys competing for those spots. Now, in this video, not only am I going to give you all the information for some of the selection headaches for Gregg Berhalter, I'm also going to tell you how I think he is going to go about these selection headaches, who he's going to pick, and more. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and start with the striker race. And in a very recent interview, Gregg Berhalter has name-dropped 6 players who are in contention for this camp. Those 6 players being Ferreira, Sargent, Pepe, Pefok, Vazquez, and Wright. Now, I expect 3 players to come into this camp. I can't see Pepe coming into this camp. He was just not able to find his footing at Augsburg, and he just got a loan move over into the Netherlands League, but I think it's too late for him to catch form, so he's not going to be in it for me. Now, that doesn't mean he's not going to be in the World Cup. I just don't see him in this camp. Then Haji Wright. Haji Wright has started with 5 goals from 5 games in the Turkish league, but just kind of the way that Gregg Berhalter used him in the last camp and the way he fits the system didn't seem too great, so I don't see him being brought over again, especially with some of the other guys on this list. So that leaves 4 guys left, those 4 being Ferreira, Sargent, Pefok, and Brandon Vazquez. Now, for me, Ferreira is a lock. You can just tell by the way he was used in the last camp and how Gregg Berhalter likes him in his system, which is also going to put Sargent in this camp for me. I just think he really fits the system, the high press that Gregg Berhalter has, and he's finally catching form. Although he hasn't been with the team in a year, like I said, he's been doing very good in the championship. His stats look really good. So that leaves us with Jordan Pefok and Brandon Vazquez. Now, Jordan Pefok does have a slight muscle injury, but he has been tearing it up so far in the Bundesliga, and to me, he's the most natural goal scorer out of anyone on this list. However, Brandon Vazquez has never played with the USMNT, so if he's being considered for the World Cup, he's going to have to be called into this camp. Right? Gregg Berhalter is not going to take someone to the World Cup who has never played with the USA before. So I think you can expect Ferreira, Sargent, and personally, I think Pefok will probably be in there, but do not be surprised if they take Brandon Vazquez over Pefok just for this camp, since Pefok has a slight injury and they want to see what he can do before the World Cup. And that definitely does not mean that Pefok won't go into the World Cup. But for me, like I said, Ferreira, Sargent, Pefok, or Ferreira, Sargent, Vazquez on what to expect going into this camp. Now, moving on to my next name on the list, it's going to be Malik Tillman. Malik Tillman did not have a great summer camp with the USMNT. It was his first time with the USA after declaring that he was going to play with us and not Germany. But he has played very, very good for Rangers. He's since been loaned out from Bayern Munich. He's looked really good. Not only do I think he's going to be in this camp and probably in the World Cup camp as well, I think he could get a lot more playing time than he did previously. Next on this list, I have Giovanna Reyna. Giovanna Reyna comes back from injury, and when you're kind of sorting out who's going to fall off from last camp, he doesn't have to replace anyone, as Christian Roldan has just gotten groin surgery, so Reyna's going to slot in there very easily. Moving over to our fullback situation, Des comes back into the lineup, which means someone's going to get booted out of the squad. And I originally thought it would be somewhere else. I thought we'd keep the other 2 right backs we had in the last camp and just add Des to it. But with the way everything's working, I think we're going to have an extra center back or too many fullbacks. I actually think we're going to just keep the 2 right backs. So it's going to be Dest, and to me, you have to keep Yedlin in there because he's the only person in the squad with World Cup experience. So Cannon, although Gregg Berhalter likes him, I think he's going to get booted out of this squad. Now, on the left side, there are a little bit more problems. Anthony Robinson has looked very good in the Premier League. He's been our lock starter for left back for a while now, and he's just kind of confirmed that since he's playing the Premier League, playing very good against some world-class players. However, he has rolled his ankle, and he's a question mark right now for whether he's going to be available in camp. But this can also be a good thing, right? Young Joe Scally did not look great in the last camp with the USA. I had kind of already written him off. I thought, he wasn't ready yet. Let's wait. He's not going to be able to get minutes for the USA before the World Cup, but he's looked great in Germany. And if Anthony Robinson is not able to make this, I think it could give Joe Scally a lot of minutes to be able to prove himself again with the USA. Also, George Bello, who was in the last camp, has looked very, very bad. I don't think he's going to get called into this camp. He's now in the second tier of Bundesliga, and he hasn't even been getting minutes in that. So I think Bello's going to get kicked to the curb. So either way, Joe Scally's in this lineup for me. And I think if Anthony Robinson is out, then it'll be Joe Scally and Sam Vines is going to make a return. He plays for Antwerp. So Anthony Robinson, Joe Scally, Sam Vines. It just kind of depends on whether Anthony Robinson is going to be healthy or not. So I did kind of restrict the amount of fullback spots that I was going to give to this lineup, and that's because I think we go from only having 4 center backs this camp to having 5. Like I said, usually we only take 4, but Gregg Berhalter has talked about this 3-man back line, and I think he's going to practice with it. Now, going ahead into the World Cup, I don't think you only take 4 center backs whenever you're playing 3 in the back, because obviously that only leaves 1 person on the bench. If someone gets hurt, then you have no one else who can rotate in that back line. So he already has Walker Zimmerman and Aaron Long from last camp. I think those are locks, even though I know the fan base doesn't really agree with Aaron Long. I don't either, but I think Gregg Berhalter is going to take him. Chris Richards comes back from injury, so he's going to take up one of those spots too. And to me, I think Gregg Berhalter likes Cameron Carter-Vickers enough to be in there. So if we only take 4, those are my 4. But going on to the 5th player that I think we take goes between Tim Ream, James Sands, and Eric Palmer-Brown. Now, Eric Palmer-Brown was in the last camp. However, he hasn't done enough since the last camp for me to want to bring him back, so he's going to get pushed out this time. So it's between James Sands or Tim Ream. Tim Ream has now gone up into the Premier League with Fulham. He's the captain of a Premier League side. I know he's kind of old. People kind of kicked him out of the USA a while ago, but he has looked very good, has a lot more ability than what most people are giving him credit for. And to me, I'd put Tim Ream in this camp. I know Gregg Berhalter went and ate lunch with James Sands, but he also was eating with Malik Tillman and Cameron Carter-Vickers after that whole get-together. I could see him in this camp instead of Tim Ream, but for me, I think Gregg Berhalter is going to put Tim Ream into this camp, giving us the 5 of Walker Zimmerman, Chris Richards, Aaron Long, Cameron Carter-Vickers, and Tim Ream. So now getting into some of the competition on who's going to be actually playing over these 2 games. The goalkeepers are going to be the normal ones for me. You're going to have Steffen, Horvath, and then Matt Turner. Now, Zach Steffen does have a slight injury right now, and if for some reason he wasn't there, I'd put Sean Johnson in this lineup. However, I think Zach Steffen's almost 90% sure going to be in this camp. So for me, that's going to be Turner, Horvath, and Steffen. Now, Turner, for me, is still going to be the number 1. I think you have to remember how good he was before his move to Arsenal, where he only just got his debut game. Ethan Horvath was probably the 3rd goalie out of these 3. However, he's actually looked pretty good in the championship. He's obviously getting very regular playing time, and so he doesn't, for me, he can't drop out of the 3. Then we have Zach Steffen. Zach Steffen has actually dropped for me. So I know a lot of people said he's gotten his loan move to Middlesbrough. We kind of thought maybe he would pop back up to the number 1 goalkeeper. But to me, he has not looked good. He's made a lot of errors. If anything, he's dropped down to the 3rd goalkeeper on this list. So I'm still going to keep Matt Turner for my starter. He's probably going to start in one game. Another goalkeeper will probably get to start in the other game. That'll probably be how it works. Maybe you have Matt Turner. And then honestly, I still think Zach Steffen would probably play another game. So I'll say Matt Turner and Steffen each share 1. But Turner's still going to be the main goalie for Gregg Berhalter and for myself. So in the left back position, I kind of mentioned it earlier. If Anthony Robinson is healthy, obviously he's going to get most of the playing time. But just assuming real quick that he might be hurt or he won't be able to get a whole lot of minutes in this camp, I think we'll see, obviously, the 2 guys I said earlier, Sam Vines and Joe Scally. Now, this can be really good for Joe Scally, as if I think Anthony Robinson was fully fit, he might not be even considered for this camp. But since he is, and since I think he'll be in the camp, I think him and Sam Vines will split minutes pretty even. So it's not really a battle of who's going to be starting, who's not going to be starting. I think they get even playing time this camp. But what this will do is whoever's better out of Sam Vines and Joe Scally, this is earning the backup spot at the World Cup. So we're going to see Sam Vines get a little bit of competition against Joe Scally, one-on-one. Whoever Gregg Berhalter likes better is going to be the backup left back to Anthony Robinson at the World Cup. And that is what those 2 will really be fighting for. And then for the center back spot, I do think you see mostly Zimmerman. Obviously, Aaron Long seemed like he was one of the guys for the last camp. Now that Chris Richards is back, I think that'll give some of the USMNT some hope. I think Richards will be starting. So for a main 2 center back formation, I think you'll see Zimmerman and Richards. If it moves to that 3, like I mentioned earlier, I think you could really see a combination of anyone. Like it'll be Zimmerman, Richards. You get Cameron Carter-Vickers in there. Aaron Long will probably get some playing time, sadly. And then I think Gregg Berhalter is going to give chances to either Tim Ream or James Sands, like I mentioned earlier. Whoever makes it into the camp, I think will be starting. So Zimmerman, Richards, the main two. Obviously, Long, I think Cameron Carter-Vickers will get some time. And then hopefully we can see some time from Tim Ream in this camp. So the biggest dogfight out of the whole group is going to be the attacking mid and the right wing spot, right? Right now, our three midfielders, I'd say, are Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, who those two are locks to start. And then you have Yunus Musa, who's playing the other central mid position. And then at right wing, you have a guy who's a little injured right now, and that is going to be Timothy Weah. However, I still think he's going to be in the camp. Now, where the competition comes in is Brenden Aaronson, who's done very good for Leeds right now in the Premier League, and then Giovanna Reyna coming back into camp after he's been injured for a while with Borussia Dortmund, but he's finally starting to get things together. He just put in 2 assists in the Champions League. So you're going to have Yunus Musa, who's going to try to keep hold of his spot, while Brenden Aaronson, Giovanna Reyna are both looking for the easiest way to get into this lineup, whether it's center mid. If they can get Yunus Musa, they'll try to attack Yunus Musa's spot in the center mid. Also, they could go for that right wing spot. All 4 of these guys, Yunus Musa, Timothy Weah, Brenden Aaronson, Giovanna Reyna, they can all play in any of these 2 positions. So it's going to be a dogfight. Timothy Weah is going to try to hold his spot for right wing. Like I said, Brenden Aaronson plays a lot of right wing for Leeds. Giovanna Reyna can play right wing too. They can both play in the attacking. These guys, when they get on the field, they're going to look to show Gregg Berhalter what they can do, because who doesn't want to be playing when the World Cup comes this November? So getting into the strikers, the 3 that I said we'd probably bring are Ferreira, Sargent, and Pifak, and then maybe Vazquez on the side. So Ferreira, I'd say, currently has the striker spot. Gregg Berhalter, seems like it's a little locked in for him. Maybe for the rest of the USMNT community, we like to think it's a little more open than it really is. And I really hope it is, because I think if Josh Sargent gets his chance or Pifak gets his chance, then they can really show what they can do. Once we get in those hard games against teams like England and stuff like that, you're going to want a more natural goal scorer, someone who you can rely on with a little less chances, and I think Pifak can do that. So when Pifak is in the starting lineup, we really need him to get goals. He does it for club. He's been very good in the Bundesliga this season. If he goes in for the USMNT, he's going to have to score a goal or 2 across these 2 to really get a better chance going into the World Cup. Same for Josh Sargent. He fits the scheme. He just has to show that he can do it better than Ferreira, and I honestly think he's capable of it. He's looked very good in the championship. He's on very good form. And then I'll say as a maybe, if Brandon Vazquez does come into this camp, he's going to have to just completely show out. He's on the outside looking in. If Gregg Berhalter brings him in, he's obviously going to give him a chance. He wouldn't just bring him in, never played before, and then consider him for the World Cup. So if he gets a chance, he's going to have to look good, get a goal or 2. But it's really up in the air. Ferreira has it right now. Can he hold on to it? That is going to be the question for this camp. This is the part of the video where I do wrap it up. I know things are still a little bit different. I'm making the transition to college. I do appreciate everyone for watching the video. If you made it this far, please comment, who I might have missed, who I didn't talk about coming into these camp battles, starting lineup battles, squad battles, things like that, who I might have missed, or what you're really excited to see. Like I said, those 4 of Brenden Aaronson, Yunus Musa, Giovanna Reyna, and Timothy Weah. That is going to be a very tough one. I think a lot of people are excited for. Maybe who your striker is, maybe who your goalkeeper is, if you disagree with what I said. Like and subscribe for more USMNT content, and I will see you guys next time.